Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
And today I thought I'd explain a little bit, well, almost entirely in fact, the James Cameron Spider-Man script.
Oh, man.
And it's not quite as outlandish and insane as I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe
Yeah.
you should just pretend like it is.
And just make it up as I go.
we'll just
go off the
People just
rails.
freak out about, that's not the script! I don't even know what you're doing! Or they believe me and they just hunt for it. And then they start like, oh, I found it. And it's pretty awesome.
And then they hunt for James Cameron.
Yeah, and they're like, you could have ruined Spider-Man 25 years ago.
I'm glad you didn't. I don't know why I'm picketing outside your house.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was ruined by Sam Raimi after 2 other movies.
Yeah.
Instead.
Exactly.
Is that better?
Actually, you'll find that it's about the same.
Oh.
Originally, Spider-Man, the movie rights had been mired in a legal quagmire, if you will. It's one of the first times I ever heard the word quagmire. It was the language
know this.
described about the Spider-Man movie. The idea was that eventually Spider-Man fell to the responsibility, or onto the capable shoulders of James
Is it
Cameron.
a great responsibility?
I would say that he had great power, and therefore he had a responsibility to...
A great responsibility.
Yeah, a great responsibility, thank you, to do something about the Spider-Man movie. And so he took it upon himself to write a script treatment. And it's like
treatment is
A very short version of a script.
It's a short version of
Basically,
the script, yeah.
doesn't have all the
synopsis.
dialogue.
No.
It has some excerpts of dialogue, a couple of great moments. James Cameron's version of a script treatment is basically just a script.
No.
But
He's like, it's a first draft.
Oh, wow.
it's a first draft.
Because normally a treatment is like maybe 3 pages.
Yeah,
or
maybe
4.
10.
Okay.
Like at most.
It's like, here's what happens.
Yep.
Yeah. It just
It's more
explains
like a
the movie.
pitch.
Okay.
Cameron's is like 100 pages, and it
my
has
God.
mostly dialogue and a lot of things where he, like, the climax, he just says, like, anyway, the hero beats the villain. Here are a few highlights I'd like to see, and then has, like, bullet points of cool moments from the fight.
It's really hard to really nag on him for that because,
Right,
he
because,
makes
like-
fantastic movies.
And that's why people were so excited about it. They were like, oh shit, James Cameron's finally in charge of Spider-Man.
Right.
And there were a couple of rumors running around back then. It was like the early 90s, so like DiCaprio was rumored to be Spider-Man. I think Jim Carrey was rumored to be Green Goblin, but of course Green Goblin isn't in this movie. In fact, no Spider-Man villain is in this movie.
What?
It starts off,
Are muggers in the movie? At least?
yeah, there are...
Just trying to think of, like, who...
Oh no,
Well,
there are villains
someone
with
shoots-
powers.
Someone shoots
Oh.
Uncle Ben.
There's
Yes.
powered villains who are not from Spider-Man.
No,
lore.
they're like implied and imagined Spider-Man villains, but they're James Cameron's versions of them.
Wait, because he created them, does Marvel get to use them now? Even though
I don't
the
know,
film
well,
was
no,
never
because
made?
he wasn't creating them for Marvel.
No, he was making it for the
movie
studio that owned the rights to do the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, but they rejected it.
So it just goes to nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants it.
Maybe he owns it.
Maybe. The script is actually, I found myself as I was reading it, really reminded of the Sam Raimi movie. There are a lot of beats in there that hit on the same points.
The third one.
No, the first one.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Oh.
The idea being like Peter Parker is a nerd. We're really like reinforcing that point. Like the first time we meet Peter Parker, he's in the bathroom popping a zit.
Oh.
And then he's like, okay, I'm in. And then he runs downstairs. And like there's a lot of character descriptions in there. Like Peter Parker is a nerd. And then Aunt May and Uncle Ben took him in too old. Like they were too old to raise a kid.
Okay.
And so now that he's a 17-year-old, they're geriatrics.
He gets pads of paper for Christmas.
Right. And shoes.
Hey,
Sensible
shoes.
shoes.
And, like,
Sensible
rock
shoes.
candy and Ludens.
He also works in this weird point, like, Peter Parker was born in Maryland, and then they moved him to Forest Hills, Queens, to live with his aunt and uncle.
Okay.
I'm like, so? Why does that matter?
Moved in with his auntie and uncle in Queens.
In Forest Hills. Are you trying to work in a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song?
A little bit, yeah.
It's not going to work.
I think it could.
Yeah.
In South Maryland, born and raised. In a neighborhood where I spent most of my days.
Uh-huh. chilling out.
No, he doesn't chill out.
No.
We could
Being
do
all awkward and
Nerdy
challenge to our
not
viewers.
having friends.
Finish this song with Spider-Man's backstory. Go for it.
Like to see it, it'll appear on an episode of Letters page. So,
we might even wrap it.
one of
Ben
us will.
might.
I said we. This is a group effort.
Oh.
Don't make me drop.
So,
don't drop the ball on me.
It's a great responsibility, Ben. Do you have the power?
Well, I mean, clearly I have the shit.
Like I said, it really is very reminiscent of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie.
Almost to the point where Sam Raimi ripped it off.
Exactly! It's so weird! So, alright, I talked about a couple of things, like, they really established that Peter Parker's a nerd, and, like, he is in love with Mary Jane, like in the movie. She's almost like a Valley Girl kind of person. And we meet Mary Jane in Peter's science class.
Like she's vapid?
Yeah, well, like, she's pretending to be, or she doesn't realize that she isn't vapid. That's really more like what it is. That she, like, has potential.
Hanging out with a crowd who is vapid, and she's just like, oh, yeah, I'll do this.
Yeah, and she's still, like, her parents are abusive and miserable, so, like, she's really, really unhappy at home, so she, like, puts on airs at school to kind of, like, diffuse that, and, like, I think she's dating Flash Thompson, and, like, in that one as well. By the way, James Cameron makes no attempt to look up the names of the characters he doesn't know. Like, if James Cameron's like, Aunt May? Okay, that's her name in the script, Aunt May. Uncle Ben? Got it. What's Peter Parker, or what's Spider-Man's name? Peter Parker? Okay, got it. What about that Flash Thompson guy? Flash can't be his real name. I'm gonna call him Dave. Like, just
Dave
make
Thompson.
up another name. And then that'll
Well,
happen.
he never got one in the comics.
Right, it's like, dude, you didn't even read it. Like, clearly you didn't read it. Do you even read comics, James Cameron? Fucking no.
No, I'm
Not
too
even
busy
a little.
going in a submarine down there.
I'm
going to the fucking Challenger
Titanic.
depth.
There's a lot of things that are the same, and a lot of things that are like, I think better.
See something about mutagenically activated flies.
Yes! Okay, let's talk about that. Spider-Man
What?
gets his powers by going to the same stupid fucking lab, but not at Oscorp, because there's no Norman Osborn in this movie.
Right.
It's just at some...
Just a lab.
Just a lab.
Somewhere.
And they make mutagenically enhanced flies, right? And they have 15 genetically enhanced super flies. But one of the flies escapes, just like in the Sam Raimi movie. But a spider, a regular spider, catches it and eats it. And then it gets the powers from the fly. So Sam Raimi cuts the middleman out.
Right, because why do you need to fly in
Well,
there?
why do you need super spiders? Like, who's good? Like, what's the point of? I took these.
Well, that's what his origin is.
No. Well, no. In the stupid Sam Raimi movie, they're like, we made these. We took like 20 different spiders and we made these super spiders using all these different.
Yeah.
No.
Why?
In the comics, it's a spider
radioactive
that gets
spider.
irradiated.
Yeah, but it's still he still has to get bitten by a spider. Like they get
Yes.
that part.
Well, yes.
You can't just like nah, and then magic, and he got his power.
No.
Well,
No.
There's got to be something.
They're all
He's
the
been like-
same. They're
Look,
all.
There was the movie The Fly, and there were flies in that where they
Right.
crossed it with a person. I'm just taking that a step further and making super fly.
Right.
Combining the fly
That is a
and Spider-Man.
conceivable idea.
Yeah.
it's more
I
like-
would believe
spider?
in super flies.
The
Yeah.
hell is wrong with a
Who
spider?
would make a super spider? They'd be terrified.
It's the same fucking scene. Mary Jane's there. Peter's there. There's no Harry. Peter awkwardly tries to talk to her. They make a little chit chat. He takes some pictures of the school paper.
Does he take pictures of her?
I think he does, but it's not very like expressively put in there. It's not
Okay.
as obvious.
But there's no film in the camera.
Right? No, there's got to be film in the camera because you got to
click.
take it home.
Click.
Yeah. Hang on.
Click.
I'm just getting all this great footage.
All those great
Oh,
pictures.
what a creeper.
Yeah, this character we just made up. So he takes these pictures, doesn't notice the spider. It crawls on his hand. It bites him. He like freaks out. It even says like there is a psychedelic sequence at the when he gets home because he runs.
Of
You know,
course there is.
he gets sick. He goes home. When he gets home, he ignores Aunt May and Uncle Ben, just like he does in the fucking Sam Raimi movie.
He's plunged into a psychotropic state.
Exactly.
An abyss of dark visions which yawns beneath him. Wow, James Cameron.
Yeah. In this one, I guess
How
he's
you
like lying
gonna
on the floor, and then like a vortex opens up. It's very Sam
Falls
Raimi.
into the maelstrom,
What?
barraged by hallucinatory manifestations, disturbing images of webs.
Yeah.
This is bizarre.
Now this is the part I like. So he has this nightmare vision, right? And it's of being a spider, and he gets like these little glimmers of like what you think are flash forwards of like him being Spider-Man, where like there's like a building or windows and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he wakes up and he's in his underwear and he's hanging upside down from a flagpole.
He's been like
He's been Spider-Manning
In his
in his
sleep.
sleep.
Like Venom.
Like Venom.
like Spider-Man when he gets the Venom suit.
The Venom suit, yeah.
It's I kind of like.
Do you
and he
think
wakes up and
James
he's
Cameron did that on purpose as an homage to the Venom suit? Or he didn't
no,
have a
I
friggin'
think
clue?
he just had that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic way to do that.
Right? I think that'd be an amazing
That is cool.
reveal. Because he wakes up and
That's
is
the
like,
thing.
"Ah!"
It's not like he's asleep. He's going into a tripped out state.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he could easily just leave and have no idea what's
Yeah,
going
he's
on.
fallen into an abyss of dark visions, which yawn beneath him.
Much like an acid trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He falls into the maelstrom.
A David Lynch bio-horror montage of Spider-World.
See, now that...
This is from the script. You can't make that shit up.
Spider World?
Yeah, because it's like webs and spiders and like
Yeah.
and like rooftops and shit. It doesn't that remind you of that sequence from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie where like he's like freaking out and then you have like the skull flash on
Yeah,
the screen
that's
and
right.
like then the spiders are crawling on his DNA and turning it into the American
Yep.
flag and you're like, what the fuck? It's ripped from this script.
Yep.
So that's the first thing is that he finds out he's Spider-Man, or he finds out he has powers by like waking up as a Spider, and then he has to like run home in his underwear and he has to like, sneak back into the house and he's like, "Wow, I'm Spider-Man!" And then like he looks at his wrists, and he has these grotesque spinnerets protruding from his wrists. These like gross like black like leg things that shoot webs.
Okay.
And eventually when he creates his Spider-Man costume, he invents web shooters to cover up the spinnerets. That he was born with organic webbing, but he creates web shooters so that no one will know that the webbing he has is organic.
And
he
comes
says,
from these gross things that are
right, because he's such an outcast already. Like, if people could see this like organic protrusion from his hands, like they would freak out.
Well, it's like when Peter Parker started growing the extra arms when he was this human spider person. Where it's just like,
I'll never
I'm
have a
freak.
regular life again. Yeah,
Well, I don't understand. When he's Peter Parker, he can't have web shooters out. So how does he cover them
they
up?
come out late. Like they come out when he wants them to.
Oh. They like emerge.
Yeah, so like when he's Spider-Man, he
Wolverine's
has to have.
claws.
Yeah.
That's so. Are the web shooters he makes functional, or do they just cover?
No,
up?
the web shooters that he has. No,
Are they just like an outlet for?
They are a prosthetic.
I see.
To make, and then because the idea
I was going
is
to say, like, why would you do that? Why
like,
would you
well,
make web?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it helps propel it.
No, it doesn't. He's just he puts them
focus
on
it or aim it.
Yeah, no. The spinners do that. He wears them so that people won't see that he has these gross things shooting out of his hands.
Sorry, I just got an alert from work.
But he tells the people that
Right, he tells them that they're web shooters. He's like, oh, that's where they come from.
'Cause here's the thing,
my
like-
web shooters.
James Cameron makes up a lot of stuff.
That
and
I
he
invented
tries a lot of
somehow.
things that he makes up, like these stupid spinnerets.
Yeah.
But then, like he then couches it with something awesome. Like Spider-Man wants to gain favor. He wants to make money. So like he appears on like late night shows and like he appears on like like
that's
Conan
cool.
and Letterman and Leno and like he's the Amazing Spider-Man. He does tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even like a little passage in there where he's like the late night hosts make jokes at his expense, but he's so swept up in the crowd that he doesn't even notice, and he's like he doesn't understand, and so he does another trick and they applaud for him like he's a monkey. Like
Wow.
it's dark. Peter Parker as a character is also kind of dark. Like he knows he's a nerd, he knows he's an outcast, so he owns it. It's like he goes to school and he's like, yeah, I'm a nerd, fuck you. Like people are like, hey, look at Puny Parker. He's like, yeah, I'm a Puny Parker, eat me. And you're like, okay, but he's also deeply resentful and needs their approval. Like it's James Cameron's interpretation of what real nerds are like.
Wow.
Well, it's one thing if you try and make them
Yeah, it's really weird and
accept the
uncomfortable.
situation and be like, no, in order to be in this limelight, I have to put up with this, but I recognize what's going on. But he's just oblivious.
No, he's oblivious to it. Like
"Hey!"
it's almost like James Cameron saying like he is a outcast and a nerd and deserved of it.
Because he's so weird.
Yeah, because he's such a weirdo.
Because he's got these crazy spinnerets.
Yeah, and he's also like a nerd and
Socially
doesn't have
awkward.
friends. Yeah, and he's socially awkward. So like, okay, he's in a science class. It's senior year, by the way. He's a senior in high school and he's like gonna graduate soon and shit.
Right. 'Cause we got to get him out of high school as fast as possible.
Yeah, well,
We can't just do a movie where he's in high school.
no, exactly. Well, it's got to end with him graduating because that's
Right.
like graduating from being a entry level superhero
I
or
guess.
something. So he and Mary Jane share a chemistry class,
Okay.
and she's assigned it to him as like a lab partner.
Okay.
And have to pick what their lab's going to be about. And now that he's got these spider powers, he's like, I want to learn more about like where my powers come from, what spiders are like. So he asks the teacher if they can do the report on spiders. And she's like, ew, spiders, that's gross. Like, you're weird. Like, what a weirdo you are. Yeah. And like the treatment leaves out a lot of lines. It just has like descriptions, and he's like, well, we'll figure that out later. Like, Peter explains how spiders work, and he has this, like, odd, quirky charm about him, and so the more he talks to her, the more, like, grossed out she is, but also the more, like, intrigued and interested he is, and, like, he starts winning her over just with his personality. Like, he is a funny guy, like, he is an okay dude, and, like, he does have value, and she sees that, and she's not a heartless bitch, so she's won over a little bit. And,
he's not a total dweeb.
Yeah, exactly. He's just a regular dude who's, hasn't come into his own yet.
No, he's a regular nerd.
Right, he's a nerd and a geek.
Well, he's
but,
smart, right?
Yeah. But he's also kind of funny, because like, he had decent upbringing. Uncle Ben and Aunt May are cool, I guess. I don't know. They don't really have characters in this.
I never met them.
The other thing is, Uncle Ben drops Spider-Man or Peter Parker off at like another obligation that he has as Spider-Man. Then when he leaves, Uncle Ben is shot from a carjacking, which is only in the movies.
Really?
Oh yeah, in the comics.
Why does every movie do that? It's not even from the comics.
Every movie does that because in the first one, in this script, James Cameron invented it, and then in the movie, David Cope and Sam Raimi just read that and then did it.
Wow.
And
what happens in the comics?
In the comics, I'm sorry. So like the burglar in this one, in the comics, the burglar is at the wrestling arena.
Right.
Like, Spider-Man's like, I'm going to cash in on my powers by beating this wrestler, Crusher Hogan, and I'll earn a bunch of money. He beats the wrestler, he gets the money.
Right, okay.
And then he's like, he goes back to like the locker room and he gets his bag, and on his way out, this burglar who took the till is running past him, and the cop's like, hey, stop him, and he's like, nah. So like the burglar gets away. Not because like he wants to like work with the burglar, or the burglar and he are kindred spirits, or anything like that in the
or he got
movies.
ripped off by the
No,
wrestler,
he doesn't get ripped off by the wrestler owner or the manager of the Quick Stop or whatever. It's just, he's like, no.
That's
I'm
not
a
what I
TV
do.
star. You're the mall cop.
That's
Go get
not
him.
my job, yeah.
So then, he changes back into Peter Parker. He goes home, and when he gets home, there's cops there, and like that burglar apparently wanted to make 2 scores in one night, robbed the till from the like studio, and then went to Forest Hills, Queens, broke into Aunt May and Uncle Ben's house, and surprised Uncle Ben and killed him. What? Like he came in, Uncle Ben's like, hey, and he's like, whoa, and he shot him.
Oh,
wow.
And then ran away.
Oh,
that's bullshit odds.
I know.
Yeah. That's win the lottery, except not odds.
Now, interestingly enough, in this movie, Spider-Man can only get his checks cashed by a check cashing place.
I was going to say, like, how does he get paid?
Because he wants to keep his identity a
Spider-Man?
secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is actually a throwback to the comics as well. Because Spider-Man couldn't make a go of his, like, studio career because he wanted to keep the identity a secret. But they were like, I can't make a check out to Spider-Man.
Right.
And he's like, well, then I can't cash these checks. And they're like, oh, well. And we can't pay you, like, $80,000 a year in cash.
Right.
You know,
why not?
It's got to be on the books.
Take that check, cash it yourself,
right,
and then pay me.
Yeah,
but it's a pain in the ass for a company to do that.
I'd rather
they
not
gotta have like a paper trail for
but if you have like the Amazing Spider-Man,
I know, right?
You fucking make it work.
Yeah, you figure a way out. But apparently these guys are immobile.
We got Angelina Jolie next week.
Yeah.
I don't think we need Spider-Man to be paid in cash.
The check cashing place like takes the check and then it like closes. Like it ran out of business or it closed, and they took his money, and he's like, what the fuck? And then like somebody robs the check cashing place, and then he tries to carjack.
Wait, so he goes to the place,
and
he's like, here's my check, and they go, thank you,
right?
Close.
And I think it's like more like he dropped him off, and then he comes back the next day, and they're like closing, and he's like, oh, we closed up, there's no more money, and then like a burglar breaks in and like steals the money, and then like goes and kills Uncle Ben.
That's weird.
Uncle Ben, at no point in the entire script says, with great power comes great responsibility. At no point does he say anything to Peter Parker to inspire him or anything.
He just dies.
He dies like he does in the movie, though.
Okay.
Where he shows up and he goes, Peter! And then he just dies. And you're like, what the hell's that?
Wow.
Why must it be so dark?
Yeah.
And then he goes to the warehouse where the burglar is said to be. He beats the shit out of the burglar. Then finds out the burglar is the same guy that he could have stopped when they had the chance. Unlike
snaps his neck.
Yeah, unlike the Sam Raimi movie where he like accidentally kills him, so it doesn't really he scares him and he falls up. He's like, I want to kill him, but I don't because Uncle Ben taught me better than that. So then he webs him up and he just drops him off.
Oh.
And
No,
in
he
fact-
drops him off from a building.
Right, he drops him
20
off.
stories
He
up.
drops him off
A
the
cliff.
Empire State Building.
Right.
No, he actually him getting the burglar is also ripped off because he doesn't just immediately leave and find the burglar. He goes on a manhunt as Spider-Man to catch the burglar, and the burglar has a distinctive tattoo that he tries to identify. But he also realizes that, like, in trying to catch this burglar, he's really good at catching burglars and bad guys. So he's pretty good at that.
That's how he learns that he can do that.
Yeah.
For a living.
A few other changes. J. Jonah Jameson is a TV studio host instead.
What?
So there's no newspaper. It's a
What?
That's impossible.
It's a TV station.
So is Peter not a photographer?
He is a photographer.
Who does he sell his pictures to?
The newspaper.
Which is
not-
run by somebody else.
Yeah.
Why?
Doesn't matter.
God damn.
Because J. Jonah's too big for a newspaper.
So he doesn't
That's
have a
right.
relationship with J. Jonah Jameson at all?
J. Jonah Jameson has a relationship with him in that
How?
he creates a smear campaign against
Well,
Spider-Man.
yeah, but he doesn't have one with Peter Parker.
No.
Oh, he's like a news anchor. Who's
That's
just like he
bullshit.
goes on like,
Nope.
you
Why
know,
would you
my
change
opinion.
that?
Yeah. It's with Bill
is you
O'Reilly.
should hate fucking Spider-Man.
But one of the great things about J.
Yeah.
Jonah Jameson is that he knows Peter and he hates Spider-Man.
Yeah, is that Spider-Man works for him under his
Yeah.
nose. I know.
Why would you change that?
Because we need to have this element in this script where we find out that, like, the bad guy in the movie is named Carlos Strand. Carlos Strand has no supervillain nickname.
Okay.
He has electricity powers.
Like Electro.
Like Electro, but he's not Electro.
Right.
He's Carlos Strand.
because he's cooler than Electro.
Yes. Carlos Strand is Donald Trump, but young, sexy, and has electricity powers. So he's a billionaire. He has like a high rise. He's like Norman Osborn kinda from like the new movies. Like
Right.
he's an evil corporation like tycoon. And he also has electricity powers. He got them by being not struck by lightning.
And not in a tub of electric eel.
No, not by electric eels.
Dumb.
He is running away from the police, and he's by a modern art installation that is made of metal. And when he runs by, it is struck by lightning, and the current turns him into Electro.
Oh.
The shape of the art installation piece makes him into Electro. But he is never referred to by that name, nor does he refer to himself.
It is Electro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Carlos Strand
I'm
uses
sorry,
his...
Can we go back just one second?
Oh, yeah.
I just noticed something in the script.
Uh-huh.
When he wakes up after his
I forgot.
adventure from bed.
Well, no. The first adventure he wakes up from, he's on
Right, he's on the Empire
Then
State
the
Building.
next
Then
time he
there's
wakes
another
up,
one.
he's covered in semen.
No,
But it's not semen. In spiderweb.
in spiderweb fluid.
Yeah. He has a wet dream where he wakes
Yeah.
up and he's covered in webs, and he's like, "Oh no!" And that's when he discovers the
He
spinner.
pulls back the covers, and something is causing the sheet to stick to him. He lifts it, revealing a sticky white mass completely covering him, gluing him to his bedding.
Wow, James.
Yeah. Well, it's an
That's real
allegory.
subtle. That's
for,
a visual.
You know, being an adolescent, it's
I would never
hilarious.
be able to.
Really
It'll-
uncomfortable.
It'll sell. Trust me. The audience will love it.
God.
Yeah, scary movie is any indication of that.
So Carlos Strand has a henchwoman, not unlike Lex Luthor in the Superman movie, named Cordelia.
Okay.
All right. I mean,
Like, of course, he's using a Shakespearean character. Is like whatever. So Cordelia is this like.
look, Shakespeare didn't invent the name Cordelia, okay?
I think he did. So, like, Cordelia is his henchwoman, and we meet her because, like, Carlos Strand, a consequence of having electricity powers is that he can't touch anybody. So, like, she shows up and she's gorgeous. And she's described kind of like...
she's touching everybody.
Well, she's used to try and, like... Anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, like, she's, like, super hot, and, like, they kind of have a relationship, I guess. And he's like, "Oh, you're so hot. Like, I want you." And she's like, "Okay." And she opens her clothes, and she's wearing a wetsuit. Because the only way they can, like, bang.
Oh, because, yeah, okay.
And he's like, "No, I don't want that. I want you." And she's like, "No, like, that's no."
You don't kill me.
Then he kisses her, and she's like, "Ooh, like, I'm getting a little bit of static." And then he kisses her really hard, and he blasts electricity through her whole fucking body and kills her.
Oh, no.
You got rid of the hot chick right off the
Then
bat.
he drags her body over to the couch, sits her down next to him, and he's like, "God damn it. And then he grabs her chest, and then he defibrillates her back to life, and she goes, "Oh my god, we can't do that anymore. We gotta stop." Like, that happens all the time.
We gotta stop.
Oh,
That's so weird and creepy.
This is the 13th time.
Yeah.
that's bizarre.
Really, really weird. Carlos Strand sees Spider-Man on TV, and he's like, oh, like it, because apparently Strand, ever since he got electricity powers, and by the way, using that electricity powers to, like, manipulate bank statements and microtransactions. You know Superman 3 and the joke from Office Space?
Yeah.
That's literally how he makes his billions.
No.
Yep. He rounds off fractions of a percentage of a point into an account that he uses.
Okay.
And then he, like, spins that money into other
He
money.
must do it, like...
Well,
for
he does it a couple million times. Ever since he became Electro, he
Fake Electro.
Fake Electro, he's been, like, trying to find more people who have superpowers.
Could we call him the Shocker? Just for the time being.
Yeah.
I assume this is another example where he just didn't know the guy's name and didn't look it up.
Yep.
It's Electro. I don't know his name. I'll just call him
Yeah,
Strand.
it's Max Dillon, by the way. Max Dillon's story is not this. Nor is he a billionaire and uses
Right.
his money to, like, steal electronic bank state transactions.
Right.
Well, you know,
Whatever.
I've learned to control the electricity where it's binary.
Yeah, that's literally what he does.
Ones and zeros
Yeah,
and things.
that's
No,
how he uses
I
it.
Computer.
But he has a he at some point says in his master scheme, like, I've been collecting people with superpowers and, like, enrolled them into my... He's only got one guy. His name's Boyd. Boyd is the Sandman.
Oh.
Sandman is a, like, enforcer and, like, a secondary supervillain. Sandman is exactly the way
Who
you'd
he is
who you'd imagine
in
to
the
be. No, he's like, well, first of all, wrong name again.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, that character.
Second of all, wrong origin again. Third of all, Sandman isn't a...
Wait, how does Sandman get his powers?
You mean, like, in this movie? I don't
Yeah.
even think it's explored.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant, like, the backstory was wrong for Sandman, because he doesn't get his powers by, like...
By, like, a generator
Raw.
with some sand in it? I don't know.
He does it by screwing over a witch with an hourglass.
Sandman, like, shows up at one of Spider-Man's, like, TV appearances, and he, like, roughs him up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the Spider-Man's like, hey, get away, and he punches him, and then, like, it's sand. And the script says, enter Sandman.
And then Metallica plays.
Well, it's fucking...
Except they're not going to pay them.
No,
because
well, it was, like,
Metallica's
1991, so, like, they would have
Oh.
worked really hard to get enter Sandman in that movie. No question.
That would have been actually kind of sweet.
I would like... The more I read this script, the more I'm like, I want to kind of see this movie. I kind of like it a little more than the Sam Raimi one. Yeah. So, but Sandman, once again, not in the comics, he's just an enforcer, and eventually he just sucks. That's all he is. He's just like, he's muscle for Strand.
Right.
Okay.
So,
even though he could do anything.
easily, yeah.
That's
Well,
Sandman.
but we'll see why he defeats him.
He has no imagination.
Yeah, he has no imagination, exactly.
Well, I guess Strand could fuse him into glass.
That's what he does. At the end.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
Usually it's always
so good.
water.
Or a vacuum cleaner. The script kind of follows the same beats and the same points.
Yeah.
He becomes a superhero. Strand takes notice of him. He lures him to his high-rise and then tries to tempt him with lots of money. Spider-Man refuses.
Like, to join his company?
Yeah. Join his... Well, and he's like, we could steal everything, and, like, the whole world will be our oyster. And Spider-Man's like, no, like, I'm not going to do that. There's a scene where, like, he beats up a bunch of drug dealers, and, like, there's some money... And he's like, ooh, like, I could use this money to, like, help Aunt May or, like, put myself through college. And instead he, like, because it's drug money and it'll never get traced anywhere, like, he just dumps it on a crappy, like, borough in New York.
If he's okay just giving this money to other people, why is he not okay giving some of it to his
Aunt
family?
May? That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, no, you gave it to those people. Like, how many of them are good people who are going to use it for the right reasons? And, like, your Aunt May really is dying.
No, the right thing is to turn it into the police.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
Making other decisions, you might as well just keep it.
Yeah.
or keep some of it. I don't
Right.
understand.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure if I had superpowers and this guy said, hey, you should come and we can rule the world,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right. Because he learns a lesson throughout this whole movie where it's like, authority is bullshit. Like, the police are corrupt, adults don't know anything, bad people get away with anything they want because they just don't care. And he's just like, and at one point he's just like, no, like, I'm not going to be that, I'm not going to, like, cotton to it. Spider-Man and Mary Jane, of course, like, she's almost attacked by some bad guys,
Right.
muggers, like in the fucking movie.
Do they kiss upside down?
No, they don't.
Okay.
He rescues her.
Then that is a big missed opportunity.
You know what? We'll see. He rescues her. Then they swing across Manhattan, which is kind of cool. It's an image we've like almost never seen except in Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2. Took
Yeah.
like 5 movies to get there. He then takes her to the top of the World Trade Center.
Okay.
Like the very
No, I'm
top.
sorry. That's like his
Tippy
place.
top.
That's where he hangs out. He takes her to the Brooklyn Bridge,
Oh.
where Gwen Stacy died in the comics.
Well, she doesn't.
Cameron's
she
like-
doesn't even exist in.
No.
Cameron's
Well, and
world.
Cameron's like, and I kind of remember there was a Brooklyn Bridge in there somewhere. Yeah, that's where I'll have Mary Jane and Spider-Man have sex.
And it takes a girl there. And everyone's watching going, no!
Yeah, exactly. What? Is he going to throw her over the edge and kill her? Nah, he just lifts his mask up, kisses her, and then he bangs her. With his costume off. Like, just this mask. And she's like, yeah, it sounds good to me. And, like, there's this scene...
That's crazy.
Oh, it actually is more crazy. I forgot to mention the ritual.
He can't take his spinnerets off.
Because he's got
to keep the
He
hands
retracts
and the
them.
web shooters on.
he's talking to her, right? And, like, she's just like, wow, like, that was amazing. And he's like, like...
No, he can't take the Ritz things off, and he can't retract them because he's got to be Spider-Man while he bangs her. Because otherwise, he's going to be a nerd
Yeah.
and shoot his load in like 10 seconds.
Well, he.
So he like uses his he starts explaining how spiders work, where he's like, the wolf spider will stalk its prey for and he like
And she realizes it's him.
no she doesn't.
Oh
She's-
my God!
She's actually just turned on by it, and he like webs her. Like, he, like, bondages her up with his webbing, and he's like, of course, like, the female spider understands that this is only cosmetic, and she can break free at any point. And she's like, wow, the spider must be quite bold to presume so much. And he's like, oh, yes, but, and then they bang, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
What the hell?
Where did this conversation go?
It went to him banging her. That's literally it. And then you're like, yikes.
Well,
so then, like,
No, but the journey that it took me on, I don't want to take that journey.
no.
Sorry, James Cameron.
So then, like, by the way, he bangs her, right? And then I guess, like, presumably takes her home, but that's not a scene.
Right.
Next day at school, Mary Jane's like, like, she has that I got laid, like, glow,
Right.
and, like, her friends are like, you're acting kind of weird, and she's like, you're stupid. Like, she completely gets over being popular or having any interest in these, like, vapid valley girls.
Is she still going out with Flash?
No, she breaks up with him.
Okay.
I mean, you don't see it.
Before or after
No, we see
that?
it. Like, I think it's before. Like, he's a
Okay.
jerk, and he's kind of, like, hard on Peter and blah, blah, blah.
And he's also hard on her.
Right. So,
Euphemism.
yeah, thank you. So Strand actually winds up, like, using his media connections to, like, force J. Jonah Jameson to launch an even more extreme smear campaign against Spider-Man. And he, like, tips off the cops to the fact that, like, Spider-Man's a criminal and a vigilante. So, like, to make life really hard for Spider-Man.
Like, he tells the cops that he took money that couldn't be traced and he
Right.
just gave it to people instead of turning to the cops.
Lies.
Which he actually did.
Oh, yeah. So, like, basically to force Spider-Man to, like, need to go to Strand. So that's
Right,
where J.
back
Jonah
him into a
Jameson's...
corner.
Yeah. And he also has Mary Jane... Like, he has Spider-Man followed. He sees that Spider-Man had this, like, hot redheaded chick, and he banged her on the bridge. And then, like, they follow her home, and so they find out who she is. So Strand kidnaps her, and then, like, threatens to kill her. And so Spider-Man... I'll let Ethan find more gems, but let's get to the end here.
Yeah.
They go to, like, the high-rise, like, where...
Right, his place.
Hit,
Right.
like, Strand's place. And Sandman, like, appears and, like, grabs Spider-Man's, like, hands, like, and binds him with his, like, unbreakable sand hands.
Right.
And Strand's got Mary Jane, and he's, like, in a zapper and shit, and he's, like, giving her, like, little zaps, and her hair standing on end, and Spider-Man has an immortal line where he says, "I'll kill you, motherfuckers, you goddamn bastards." And it's, like... It's a treatment. You don't actually have to write any dialogue.
Right.
But he makes sure to keep, like, really, like, important moments in the script, like, that he needs to hear the character say. And we need to have Spider-Man in this PG movie say, "I'm going to kill you motherfuckers."
That's fucked up.
Well, to show how serious he is.
Right.
So then, like,
It's
Spider-Man...
more kick-ass level.
Yeah.
Dialogue.
There's a lot of parallels, actually. It feels very kick-ass. So, like, he blows Sandman apart with his strength, and then, like, fight, and then Strand zaps her. Oh, by the way, like, when Spider-Man shows up, like, Cordelia's dead. Because, like, Strand like zapped her too hard or something. She dies. It's too bad. But this character, who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. Strand actually tries to use her to like lure Peter Parker in. He's like, you should come with me, and like you can have her, and like she's hot, right? And he's like, yeah, she's hot, and like, but like that's weird. That's not how I get girls. Like I don't. Rich people don't hand them to me. I meet them.
I don't think you understand. I don't get girls.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I don't even know what to do with her. So
I get her. What do you mean I get her?
Yeah.
What, do I have to take her home and feed her and shit?
That sounds like a lot of work.
I don't know about this.
There's also another like fun element where Peter Parker practices his Spider-Man voice. So he has he speaks in a deep register, and he's like, I'm Spider-Man. So like people are fooled and they think he's an adult, including Strand.
I mean, you're wearing a mask. You can't really see what it looks like.
So anyway, Strand's like zapping Mary Jane, and Sandman and Spider-Man fight. Like Spider-Man and Strand fight, and then Spider-Man and Sandman fight, and then like Spider-Man like taunts Strand, and then like goes near Sandman and then jumps out of the way, and Strand like blasts Sandman and turns him into glass.
Okay.
But he turns him into like fused glass, implying that like Sandman's fucking dead.
Yeah.
As opposed to in the comics, where Dr. Octopus shoots Sandman with a gun that turns him into glass, and then they shatter him, and you're like, oh no, they killed Sandman. And then he shows up, and he's just made of shards of glass.
Oh, he's Glass Man.
Yeah. And then he fucking, like, glasses the shit out of Octavius.
Oh, whoa.
You're like,
that's pretty impressive.
Whoa! It's really cool.
That's cool.
So, then Spider-Man and
what's
Strand...
wrong with one inanimate object just turning into another inanimate object?
I know, he turns into that.
Yeah.
He's still made of that material.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man and Strand have like a big
still
fight.
in there somewhere.
I guess, made of sand or glass. So Spider-Man and Strand have a big fight.
Well, his intentions at that point are just transparent.
Thank you. Spider-Man and Strand fight, and like I think they take it to the to the World Trade Center.
Okay.
That's like where everything happens. Because there's still narration in this movie, like in the stupid fucking other movie.
Yeah.
Only he's Spider-Man. Like, you cut to him every once in a while. Like, the movie opens with him being Spider-Man. He's like, hey guys, like, wasn't always this way, that being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. There's another moment that I actually really like, right before, so when Sandman is turned into glass, and he's fucked, Mary Jane is still at the high-rise. Mm-hmm. And we have a I love you Han Solo moment, where Spider-Man's about to go, and she says, I love you. And he goes, cool. And then he leaves. And I'm like, at first when I read that, I'm like, fuck you. And then I thought about it, I'm like, that could be played pretty cool.
I can see Peter Parker doing that.
Especially if it's a teenager.
Yeah.
And depending on the delivery of cool.
Yeah, it's like, cool.
Yeah, or that'd be funny too. Cool. Leave.
It's really awkward. Oh, cool.
Peter holds with the web with all his might, stopping Strand so suddenly that he slams into the steel columns along the side of the building with a sickening smack.
Ooh.
Strand is crushed to death against the fucking Twin Towers.
So he does. It's like what happens to Gwen Stacy. Like Spider-Man tries to save him,
yeah,
screws up.
But instead of like snapping his neck, he pulls it taut and then he just smacks against the building.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't die right away because he's just crushed in there.
Oh.
And there's this moment that I love where he like pulls him back up and he takes his mask off.
So what are you, senior in high school?
That's it. What are you, a senior in high school?
Yeah, I graduate next week. Strand chuckles weakly, coughing blood from ruptured lungs.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Jeez.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great death for that, like for a Spider-Man villain to be like, you were a fucking teenager the whole time.
God damn it!
That's actually kind of funny.
I love the fact that he chuckles.
Yeah,
it's just like I can't be upset about it. It's not like he goes.
Yeah, no, I lost to a kid. I hate teenagers.
And that's when he gives the money away. That's where the money is.
Well, because Strand offered him like $200 million in cash. Yeah. He said, you'll never have to worry about cashing a check as Spider-Man again.
Right.
And then he takes that $250 million and then he goes on top of the Trade Center and just dumps it into New York. Strand even says at one point, like, it'll never be traced. It's all my money.
Right.
I got it. It's all, like, you can't ever give it back. To who? Right? So... then Spider-Man like narrates the rest, and he like explains like, we graduated. MJ and I are dating. He also beats the shit out of Flash.
He comes up to her in the hallway. And he kisses her.
Yeah, and that's when she realizes.
He tells her to close her eyes, and then he kisses her.
Yep.
And she's like,
she's
like, me.
Oh, you fucked me.
I fucked you on that bridge. You didn't know it was me, but I did.
I fucked you.
Yeah. Normal. Normally, when someone says, you didn't know, but I fucked you, that's really bad.
It's really bad.
But in this case,
it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly not
endearing.
weird at all.
Weird, James Cameron.
Weird.
Weird.
So, in fact, like, when he defeats Flash Thompson at the end, like, because Pete and Mary Jane are, like, together, right?
Right.
And they're like,
Flash is like,
they're making
oh, no.
Oh, no. And so, like...
This pencil neck?
Yeah, right?
No.
This toy... No. So, like, Spider-Man just, like... Or Peter Parker just, like, moves out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, lets him, like, hurt himself. And then he, like, webs him to, like, a pole. So, like, he runs after him, like...
He webs him?
Well, he... Yeah, because it's organic. Like...
What? But then Flash would know he's Spider-Man.
No, he webs him, like, he's like, all right, Flash, like, web. And then, like... And then he goes away, and Flash like, "Doo!" And he's like runs away like the bull fighting Bugs Bunny, and then like he goes like doing, and then like knocks himself out.
But he would still be like,
know.
oh, it's a web. Oh, he's Spider-Man.
Oh, when he
That's
wakes
how
up.
he beat me.
No, clearly he wakes up and goes, Spider-Man must be a friend of Peter Parker.
Exactly. That's the kind of conclusions these people jump to.
Yes.
So then
Spider-Man must just be a prankster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then at the end, but then at the end, it shows James Cameron doesn't even know who Mary Jane is, because, like, Spider-Man reveals Mary Jane and he go to different colleges. Mm-hmm. And Mary Jane is going for her med degree.
Yeah.
She's going to become a doctor.
Because she gets better grades than him.
Because the night job is killer.
Hours. But he sees her every weekend.
Right.
I guess she...
Because, like,
went to a nearby
maybe she
school.
goes to a New York medical school. But, like, it's funny because it's just James Cameron's way of showing, like...
That's Gwen Stacy.
It's like, it's all different.
Well,
Everything's the same, only different.
Well, I thought it was his way of being like, no, like, he doesn't know anything about these characters. So he's like,
Right.
no, it'd be cool, like, that she was, like, this silly, like, airheaded girl, and then she meets him, and she's changed, and she actually becomes, like, an even better person as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
She actually becomes more successful than him. Like, see how strong and interesting she is?
Right.
And it's like, but that's not the character.
No,
Yeah.
Mary Jane becomes strong and successful because she is hot, she becomes an actress.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. But no, she's a doctor or something.
Right.
And then it
No,
ends.
she's a hot doctor.
Hot
Right.
Doctor.
A doctor. So...
And that's the movie.
And that's the movie. I mean, like, if you want, you can cycle through a few, like, moments in it, but, like, that's it. It's very similar to the Sam Raimi version in that, like, it's very similar to every superhero movie where there's a reluctant character who gets some powers by accident, and it's kind of fun, and he has a few laughs, and then he learns the gravity of his powers. Meanwhile, another guy who is, like, his opposite gets powers, but he's evil and he's selfish, and then he tries to, like, win over the superhero, but the superhero refuses, and then the two of them have a big fight, and in the middle somewhere, the superhero meets a chick, and either he bangs or he doesn't, and at the end, they have a big fight at a big national icon.
Yep.
In front of the girl.
In front of the girl. Usually the girl is used as some kind of collateral, and then at the end, the girl and the guy either end up together or reluctantly don't end up together.
Right.
Oh, and the villain dies. So as to never have him return. You know why Loki is such a popular fucking villain in these, like, Marvel movies?
Because he doesn't die.
Because they didn't goddamn kill him.
Yeah.
It's the only one. Anyway, James Cameron's Spider-Man script. You can pick it up online. Just Google it.
Anywhere.
And you can find the treatment.
Yeah.
Treat yourself. I think if it had been the first Spider-Man movie, it would have been pretty cool. If it had been after the Sam Raimi movie, I don't know. I think it would have been too close.
Yeah.
I think it would have been too similar. There's not enough to differentiate it.
Well,
Yeah.
is there enough time now after Amazing Spider-Man
For them to use it
for
now?
them to do the James Cameron script?
Oh, I think if they're
not
gonna
worth
if
it.
they're gonna reboot Spider-Man again, just do the comic book version.
Yeah. Just
I'm sorry, what the hell
do
is
the
that?
actual version.
Do the actual version instead of the goddamn made up shit they apparently need to do each time.
No, they have to create a really cool web inside a building where all these spiders work on it.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best.
Everything about every clearly corporate editorial decision is bad.
Yeah.
Everything that, like, accidentally, organically winds up in the movies are cool, are genuinely fun. Also, Spider-Man makes more jokes. He's more quippy in this one.
That's good.
It's like he's much more real.
Yeah, he's got that whole thing about spider courtship on the...
It's weird. I'd have to
weird.
see
I read
it.
the whole thing.
It's really weird.
It's
the whole
weird,
thing.
alright,
It's
yeah.
freaking weird.
No, it's
you know what's it? He actually takes his mask off and he just tells her to keep her eyes closed,
But she does.
and she does, which is
Sorry.
like, what? No,
No.
you're peeking.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I would peek.
Of course you would!
Who wouldn't?
You're
Would
having
you-
sex with this person, you're gonna peek!
if a superhero whisked you away to a
I
bridge...
kind of want to know who this is, actually.
Yeah, actually, this almost is rape.
This is kind of important.
Wait,
I know.
what if they were really hideous? Would you not want to look because they would ruin it? But they probably wouldn't.
If they were
stop?
hideous, I think you'd stop them. And you'd be like, I don't know.
Well, you wouldn't know. What if they're like, I'm hideous under the mask?
Why would they tell you that?
I guess they wouldn't. So you're
why
saying
I
you
wear
wouldn't
it.
look because you're afraid they'd be hideous. and
Well,
why
I mean,
wouldn't
consider that. Like,
So it's like the
Like-
superhero equivalent of a bag
like-
on the head.
you? Yeah.
so like. In your mind, they're really hot, and what's happening is
Right.
fantastic. And then you look, and it's hideous, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, stop!
Oh, that's
Oh,
really-
you're not stopping! Oh.
Yeah, now it's terrible.
Yeah.
Comment section down below, everybody. If you were whisked away by a masked superhero, man or woman, depending on your sexual orientation, would you peek? Let us know in the
Right.
comment
And
section
they
down
asked
below.
you not to.
Yeah.
Like, don't look.
Don't look. But it's like a sexual, like, fun thing. I don't
Yeah.
even know if he even, like, was serious about it.
It's
I
like
don't
your
know.
own blindfold.
Yeah.
So would you
I think he
peek?
was expecting her to peek.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
And he's really upset. He's just like, she didn't fucking look the whole time.
Damn it.
Damn
My
it.
big reveal.
Why did I tell her to peek?
Because it's been weeks since I banged her on the roof. We could have been banging the whole time.
It's been years since I banged anyone, because this is the first time I banged anyone.
17?
Yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time when we talk about actual comics. I'm Sal.
Right, then.
And I'm Ben.
Bye.